The initial premise is established, a foundation upon which all subsequent exploration rests. It's a starting point, a fixed position in the landscape of inquiry. Doubt surfaces early, a counterpoint to the initial assertion. Questions arise, challenging the simplicity of the premise. Nuances are detected, complexities hinted at. Information gathering commences. A wide net is cast, drawing in data from diverse sources. Each piece is examined, its relevance and reliability assessed. Conflicting viewpoints emerge. Experts disagree, interpretations diverge. The subject reveals its multifaceted nature, resisting easy categorization. A framework for analysis is constructed. Key concepts are defined, relationships between them explored. The boundaries of the investigation are delineated. Early findings suggest a need for revision. The initial premise, while not entirely discarded, requires modification. A more nuanced understanding begins to take shape. Methodology is refined. The tools and techniques of investigation are adjusted to better address the complexities of the subject. Precision and rigor are emphasized. Patterns are sought, recurring themes that might offer clues. Connections are tentatively established, subject to further verification. The limitations of the available data are acknowledged. Gaps in knowledge are identified. Areas requiring further research are highlighted. Progress is slow but steady. Each small discovery contributes to the growing body of knowledge. The pursuit of understanding remains the primary objective. The central issues are clarified, the key debates brought into sharper focus. The investigation moves from a broad overview to a more detailed examination. A sense of anticipation builds. The possibility of a significant breakthrough looms, the potential to reshape current understanding. The groundwork is laid for future inquiry. The findings of this initial phase provide a solid platform for more advanced exploration. The investigation progresses into a more detailed phase. Specific aspects of the central question are isolated for focused examination. The broader framework established in the initial stage guides this deeper dive. Evidence is scrutinized with increased intensity. Sources are cross-referenced and data points are rigorously compared. Discrepancies are investigated and potential biases are identified. Alternative interpretations are explored. Each piece of evidence is considered from multiple angles, allowing for a more comprehensive understanding. The limitations of each perspective are acknowledged. Connections between seemingly disparate elements begin to emerge. Patterns that were not initially apparent reveal themselves, suggesting a more complex underlying structure. Key variables are identified and their relationships are analyzed. The factors that exert the most significant influence on the subject of the investigation are pinpointed. Assumptions are tested against empirical data. Theoretical propositions are evaluated based on their ability to explain observed phenomena. Refinements are made to the analytical framework. Based on the emerging evidence, the conceptual model is adjusted to better reflect the complexities of the subject matter. Challenges in the research process are encountered. Obstacles such as incomplete data or methodological limitations require innovative solutions. The focus narrows as the investigation homes in on the most critical aspects of the central question. Irrelevant or peripheral information is set aside. Emerging findings suggest a potential shift in understanding. The initial hypotheses are revised in light of the new evidence. The implications of the findings are considered. The potential impact of the research on related fields and future investigations is evaluated. A sense of convergence develops as the various lines of inquiry begin to align. The pieces of the puzzle start to fit together, forming a more coherent picture. The analysis culminates in a synthesis of findings. The various strands of investigation are brought together to form a coherent whole. Key insights are distilled from the complex web of data. Central arguments are refined and articulated with greater precision. Ambiguities are addressed, and counter-arguments are considered. The core message is presented in a clear and compelling manner. Evidence is weighed to determine its relative strength and significance. A hierarchy of support is established, highlighting the most compelling lines of reasoning. Connections to broader theoretical frameworks are explored. The implications of the findings for existing models and understandings are examined. Limitations of the research are explicitly acknowledged. Potential sources of error or bias are discussed, and the scope of the conclusions is defined. Areas of consensus and disagreement are identified. Points of convergence with previous studies are highlighted, as well as areas where the current findings diverge. New avenues for future research are proposed. Unanswered questions and promising directions for further investigation are outlined. The practical implications of the findings are assessed. The potential impact on real-world applications and decision-making processes is evaluated. A balanced perspective is maintained. The conclusions are presented with appropriate caution and humility, recognizing the inherent complexity of the subject matter. The contribution of the research to the existing body of knowledge is summarized. The unique insights and advancements offered by the study are emphasized. The findings are contextualized within the broader historical and social landscape. The relevance of the research to current events and ongoing debates is discussed. The ultimate significance of the investigation is articulated. The enduring value and long-term impact of the research are considered. The implications of the synthesized findings are thoroughly explored. The potential ramifications of the research extend beyond the immediate scope of the investigation. The long-term consequences and broader impacts are analyzed in detail. Recommendations for future action are formulated. Based on the evidence and analysis, specific steps are proposed. These recommendations are grounded in the research findings and are designed to address the central issues identified in the study. Strategies for implementation are outlined. Practical considerations for putting the recommendations into practice are discussed. Potential challenges and obstacles are identified, and strategies for overcoming them are suggested. The importance of interdisciplinary collaboration is emphasized. The value of bringing together insights from different fields to address complex problems is highlighted. The need for ongoing communication and cooperation among researchers, practitioners, and policymakers is underscored. The ethical dimensions of the research and its applications are carefully considered. Potential benefits and risks are weighed, and guidelines for responsible conduct are articulated. The need for continued monitoring and evaluation is stressed. The importance of tracking the outcomes of any actions taken based on the research findings is emphasized. Mechanisms for assessing progress and making adjustments as needed are discussed. The findings are disseminated to relevant stakeholders. The results of the research are shared with those who can benefit from them, including other researchers, practitioners, policymakers, and the general public. The research process is documented in a clear and transparent manner. Detailed records of the data collected, the methods used, and the analyses performed are maintained. This ensures the rigor and replicability of the study. The limitations of the recommendations are acknowledged. It is recognized that the proposed actions may not be universally applicable or effective, and that further research and adaptation may be necessary. A call for further dialogue and engagement is issued. The findings of the research are presented as a starting point for ongoing conversation and debate. The importance of considering diverse perspectives and continuing to learn is emphasized. The synthesis of findings gives rise to a series of key conclusions. These conclusions represent the distilled essence of the investigation, the product of rigorous analysis, and careful consideration of the evidence. Each conclusion is firmly anchored in the data. The link between the evidence and the interpretation is clearly established, leaving little room for ambiguity. The conclusions address the central questions posed at the outset of the investigation. They provide direct answers to the inquiries that motivated the research. The conclusions have a high degree of internal consistency. They form a coherent and interconnected set of statements, each supporting and reinforcing the others. The conclusions are novel and insightful. They offer fresh perspectives on the subject matter, going beyond what was previously known or understood. The conclusions have significant explanatory power. They provide a compelling account of the phenomena under investigation, shedding light on the underlying mechanisms and relationships. The conclusions are generalizable to a broader context. Their implications extend beyond the specific scope of the study, offering insights that can be applied to other situations or populations. The conclusions are presented in a clear and concise manner. Complex ideas are expressed in straightforward language, making them accessible to a wide audience. The conclusions are free from subjective bias. They are based on objective evidence and logical reasoning, minimizing the influence of personal opinions or beliefs. The conclusions are open to further scrutiny and refinement. They are not presented as definitive or final, but rather as a basis for ongoing inquiry and debate. The conclusions represent a significant contribution to the field. They advance knowledge and understanding, paving the way for future research and practical applications. The implications of these conclusions for future research are significant. Several promising avenues of inquiry emerge directly from the findings. These avenues have the potential to deepen our understanding of the subject matter and extend the knowledge gained from this investigation. One key area for future research involves further exploration of the identified mechanisms. A more detailed examination of these mechanisms could reveal the precise ways in which they operate and interact. Another important direction is the investigation of the generalizability of the findings. Additional studies could be conducted in different contexts or with different populations to determine the extent to which the conclusions can be applied more broadly. Longitudinal studies would be valuable in assessing the long-term impact of the phenomena investigated. Such studies could track changes over time and identify any delayed or cumulative effects. Comparative research could also be fruitful. By comparing and contrasting the findings with those from other related studies, researchers could gain a more nuanced understanding of the similarities and differences across various contexts. Further investigation into the limitations of the current research is warranted. Addressing these limitations in future studies could enhance the validity and reliability of the findings. The development of new methodologies could also advance the field. Innovative approaches to data collection and analysis could provide fresh insights and overcome some of the challenges encountered in the present study. Exploration of the practical applications of the research findings is another important area for future work. This could involve translating the research into actionable strategies or interventions. The ethical implications of future research should be carefully considered. Researchers should strive to conduct their work in a responsible and ethical manner, minimizing any potential risks or harms. Collaboration among researchers from different disciplines is essential for advancing knowledge in this area. Interdisciplinary teams can bring diverse perspectives and expertise to bear on complex research questions. The findings of future research should be disseminated widely to both academic and non-academic audiences. This will ensure that the knowledge gained is accessible and can be used to inform decision-making and practice. The cumulative impact of the research findings warrants careful consideration. The evidence gathered throughout this investigation, when taken as a whole, reveals a compelling picture. Several key themes emerge from the synthesis of the data. These themes provide a framework for understanding the complex interplay of factors at work. The findings challenge some previously held assumptions. They call into question certain established beliefs and suggest the need for a re-evaluation of current perspectives. The research highlights the importance of context. The phenomena under investigation are shown to be influenced by a variety of contextual factors, emphasizing the need for nuanced interpretations. The study underscores the interconnectedness of various elements. It reveals how different components are linked together in a web of relationships, where changes in one area can have ripple effects in others. The findings have implications for our understanding of human behavior. They offer insights into the motivations, actions, and experiences of individuals within the studied context. The research also sheds light on broader social patterns. It provides evidence of how these patterns manifest themselves and evolve over time. The study contributes to ongoing conversations and debates. It offers a unique perspective on issues that are currently being discussed and debated in the field. The findings raise important questions for future inquiry. They point to areas where further research is needed to deepen our understanding and address unanswered questions. The research process itself has been a valuable learning experience. The challenges encountered and the strategies employed provide valuable lessons for future investigations. The collaborative nature of this research has been essential to its success. The contributions of various individuals and groups have enriched the findings and broadened their impact. The limitations of the current research design must be acknowledged. No study is without its constraints, and this investigation is no exception. One potential limitation stems from the sample selection process. The sample may not be fully representative of the wider population, which could limit the generalizability of the findings. Another limitation concerns the data collection methods employed. While these methods were chosen for their suitability to the research questions, they may have introduced certain biases or limitations in the data. The reliance on self-report measures could also be seen as a limitation. Participants' responses may have been influenced by factors such as social desirability bias or memory recall errors. The study's focus on a specific time period may also limit the applicability of the findings to other time periods. The phenomena under investigation may be subject to change over time. The scope of the research questions may have constrained the breadth of the investigation. A wider range of research questions could have yielded a more comprehensive understanding of the topic. The potential influence of confounding variables cannot be entirely ruled out. Although efforts were made to control for extraneous factors, some may have remained undetected or unmeasured. The study's reliance on correlational analyses precludes the establishment of causal relationships. While associations between variables were identified, the direction of causality remains unclear. The findings should be interpreted in light of these limitations. It is important to exercise caution when drawing conclusions or making generalizations based on the results. Future research should aim to address these limitations. By employing more robust methodologies and expanding the scope of inquiry, subsequent studies can build upon the current findings and provide a more complete picture. The implications of these findings extend beyond the immediate scope of the study. The insights gained have the potential to inform future research, policy development, and practical applications in various fields. The research suggests a need for a shift in current approaches. The traditional methods may not be as effective as previously thought, and new strategies may be required to achieve desired outcomes. The findings highlight the importance of considering multiple perspectives. A more holistic approach that takes into account the diverse viewpoints of stakeholders is likely to lead to more successful interventions. The study underscores the value of interdisciplinary collaboration. Bringing together experts from different fields can foster innovation and lead to breakthroughs that would not be possible working in isolation. The research provides a foundation for further investigation into the underlying mechanisms. A deeper understanding of these mechanisms could pave the way for the development of more targeted and effective solutions. The findings call for a re-evaluation of existing policies. Policymakers may need to revise current regulations or implement new ones to address the issues raised by the research. The study has practical implications for practitioners in the field. The results can be used to inform best practices and improve the delivery of services. The research also has relevance for educators. The findings can be incorporated into curricula to enhance students' understanding of the subject matter and prepare them for future challenges. The dissemination of the research findings is crucial for maximizing their impact. The results should be shared with a wide audience, including academics, policymakers, practitioners, and the general public. The ultimate goal of this research is to contribute to positive change. By providing new knowledge and insights, this study aims to make a difference in the world and improve the lives of individuals and communities. The recommendations presented here are based on a careful analysis of the research findings and their implications. These recommendations are intended to provide guidance for future actions and decision-making. It is recommended that policymakers consider the following actions: implement policies that address the systemic issues identified in the research, allocate resources to support programs and initiatives that have been shown to be effective, foster collaboration among different agencies and organizations to ensure a coordinated approach, regularly evaluate the impact of policies and programs to make necessary adjustments. It is recommended that practitioners in the field consider the following actions: adopt evidence-based practices in their work, seek out opportunities for professional development to enhance their skills and knowledge, collaborate with colleagues from other disciplines to provide comprehensive services, engage in ongoing reflection and evaluation to improve their practice. It is recommended that educators consider the following actions: incorporate the research findings into their curricula, use innovative teaching methods to engage students and promote learning, provide students with opportunities to apply their knowledge in real-world settings, assess student learning in a variety of ways to measure their understanding. It is recommended that future research focus on the following areas: investigating the long-term effects of the interventions studied, examining the role of cultural factors in influencing the outcomes, exploring the potential for scaling up successful programs and initiatives, developing new methodologies for addressing the research questions. By implementing these recommendations, stakeholders can work together to create positive change and improve the lives of individuals and communities.